I'm so excited you're here. I'm so excited to share all of the knowledge that I've learned over the last 3 years. When I first started, I really had lost hope with my health. I really thought that I was past the point of being able to lose weight. I couldn't figure out what to do. I had basically given up. When I finally decided that I was going to give this a chance, I realized there were certain things that I had to change in my life. One thing I decided early on that if I was going to make this last, I needed to find good food that tasted good and was healthy. A lean and green is simple. If you don't know what that is, it really is just 5 to 7 ounces of lean protein as well as 3 servings of vegetables. Sounds simple, right? Today we're taking on the spaghetti squash. So many people think this is the scary vegetable, right? They don't know how to cook it, they don't know how to eat it. What do you eat it with? So we're going to take on the spaghetti squash today. All right, you can use a fork. I really enjoy using this tool. And all you're going to do is stab it all over. You can do this with a fork. I like to get a good amount done. Just kind of make it sporadic all over. Once we punctured all these holes, we're able to put it in the microwave. Depending on the size of your spaghetti squash, I normally put mine in the microwave about 4 minutes on each side.
Once it's cooked, let it cool, cut it in half, and scrape out the seeds.
All right, so we're just gonna scrape this all out. Should be pretty easy if you have cooked it long enough. And all of that, I just throw right in the trash. Also, if you're not a fan of spaghetti squash, I know for me, I never liked spaghetti squash. It was not my favorite thing. I know a lot of people just eat it just like spaghetti, and you can do that. It works great. But even if you don't like spaghetti squash, try these because I love them as crusts. Once I get this all cleaned out, I'm going to put some salt and pepper on this, a little olive oil, and I'm actually going to put it flesh side down right on my baking sheet. Do that to both halves, and they're ready to bake. I like to put them in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. And we'll be ready to make our crust. Once your spaghetti squash is all ready, which means it's nice and pliable and soft, it's ready to go. I like to weigh my veggies instead of measuring them with a measuring cup because I feel it's more accurate. 1 serving of spaghetti squash will be 2.73 ounces. And for this recipe, we want 2 servings of spaghetti squash. So that'll be 5.46 ounces. So I have the bowl on my scale here, and we're just gonna put enough in until I get that amount. All right, so you wanna have your mixing bowl. Like I said, I just put that right on my scale. Make sure you zero it out so that you have the correct amount. Once I do that, I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons of egg white. And you'll just pour that right in. You're gonna want low-fat mozzarella cheese. So with that, I do use 1/4 cup. And make sure that you squish it down tight. You don't want it just loose. You want to make sure you have all that cheese in there so that you have the correct amount for your protein. So once I have it all squished down in there, I put that in my bowl. So this is what it looks like. I have my 2 tablespoons egg white. I have my 1/4 cup of low-fat mozzarella cheese. And I have my 5.46 ounces of spaghetti squash. Now, this is where you can do lots of different options. You can add different vegetables if you want to add your vegetables to your crust instead of if you're making a pizza, you'll want that for your toppings. I like to add sometimes spinach, just some chopped up spinach and put that in there. Sometimes I do chopped up jalapenos if you like spice like I do. But you can add a lot of different things. But I also add seasoning to this. You can choose all sorts of different seasonings. I like to add garlic to mine. If you haven't seen our roasted garlic video, I will link that so that you can see that. Roasted garlic is super simple. Roasted garlic is super simple, and it saves pretty well. So you can just roast that and put that right into the mixture if you'd like. I love a lot of garlic, so I like to add that to mine. I also sometimes add ranch, sometimes I add oregano or Italian seasoning. So really whatever you prefer, and you can switch it up and do all sorts of different things. And because you're gonna make each of these separately into one serving, you can mix and match with whatever you want. Sometimes I make a lot of spaghetti squash crusts in different sizes. I'll make pizza crust, I'll make sandwich buns, and with doing that, I can mix in different things. So sometimes I want them to have jalapenos, sometimes I just want them plain, sometimes I want them with more garlic. So you can mix and match with that, make it super easy and super versatile. So once I have this in my bowl where I want it, I use a heavier, sturdy spatula because I like to mix all my stuff up in together. And you'll just want to mix that. I like to, you don't have to crunch it all together. It'll mix really well. So once you get that all mixed the way that you want it, with whatever seasonings you want to add. And honestly, like, you can mash up your roasted garlic if you want. You can chop it up. I love big old chunks of garlic in mine. Okay, once I get it all mixed, I like to kind of separate it into 4 sections because I am going to be making buns today. Okay, once you have it all mixed, you want to have your baking sheet. You also want to have some parchment paper. It's really important that if you're making these, that you do spray it with cooking spray. So divide that into 4, and we're going to make 4 different buns. And I just scoop it right out onto the parchment sheet. And I try and get as even amount. You're more than welcome to weigh this out if you want all 4 to be exactly. Since this is just 1 serving, I know I'm gonna eat all 4 crusts, so I don't really worry about that right now. Or if you want to weigh that because you're just gonna use 2, then that works as well. So then I just go ahead and pat those down and try the best I can to make them into a circle or a bun-like crust shape. So I can fit 8 on here. Sometimes mine are a little oblong, but that just makes so I can cook all 8 at one time. And then I just do that one more time, so I have 8 so I can bake at the same time. Make sure once again when you're doing your second batch that you zero that back out so that you know exactly the correct weight. All right, so there's our buns that we're gonna bake. Remember, if you added any spinach, any jalapenos, any other added veggies to your crust, make sure you count that as an additional veggie. So these are gonna bake in the oven for 20 minutes, and then we will flip them and bake them for another 10.
Go ahead and flip them each over just like a pancake, and then back in the oven, same temperature, 395 for 10 more minutes.
All right, they're done. These are an awesome replacement for bread. So anything that you would use bread, you can almost use these. If you enjoyed this recipe, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. You will then be able to see a lot more videos to come. You guys have an awesome day.